We've had 3 matches done in the season. Every single game has been successfully chased down, but in stark contrasting fashion. Kolkata didn't have as many runs to do in game number 1. Delhi did it with not the most recognized batsman in game number 2. And Punjab had to do it with a huge mountain to climb, and they still got there. 3 successful but contrasting run chases, and what a weekend of cricket we've had so far. Quick reminder of what happened in the last game that we've just witnessed. Bangalore putting on a mammoth total, which at one time could have been even more than that. 205 for 2 on the back of a masterclass from Faf du Plessis of 88 of 57. Kohli 41 of 29, and a great kick at the end from Dinesh Karthik. But what about that run chase? No one getting a half century, but Rajapaksa and Dhawan at the top, Mayank Agarwal, and both the guys who got them home don't even feature on that scorecard. That, in a sense, suggests what a team effort it's been from Punjab, winning their first match of the season. Here we are on Cricbuzz Live to wrap up the double header from today. But of course, we'll start in reverse order with the second game we've just witnessed in the company of Ajay Jadeja and Shaun Pollock. Shaun, in a sense, the two teams reached 205 in different ways. Bangalore sort of climbed up a hill till the halfway point and then accelerated down the hill and got there. Punjab realized there's another way to get there. It's a highway all the way. So they stepped on the gas, kept on a flat road, and got there in the end.
Yeah, nicely set up in the chase. I think when you're chasing something as big as that, if you don't get off to a decent start, a fast start, it puts too much pressure on the middle order, and then they tend to lose their nerve, tend to go too hard, try and smash balls out the ground that maybe aren't in position. But because of that good start that Mayank and Shika got them off to, it set the tone. So in many ways, they could take their time. Also, these new squads, we're not quite aware of the strengths. And when you have a look at Punjab's batting, there's 3 big guys at the bottom order there, isn't it? They can hit some seriously long balls. So if they get themselves in position, 10, 11, 12, 13, those aren't too dangerous totals to try and chase down in the end. But there we can see that fast start, 10 and over to start, and then finishing really strong. So it was a quality run chase. I think the dew played its part a little bit. I always look for that ball just to see if you can, over the years, you get to witness when it gets a little bit dewy, how it's sort of, you can see the signs on the ball. It looked like it was just slipping a little bit. And not as sharp as they should be. We said that in the games before. I think the fast bowlers, 22 extras, or was 23 extras, not quite hitting their straps. And it often happens at the start of these tournaments. And then eventually they find their rhythm and start to settle in. But you can't take anything away from Punjab. Helped by the odd little drop catch here and there. But some really good striking at the back end and winning with an over to spare.
Yeah, in fact, you mentioned the extra, Shaun. It was a record in this tournament. Over 40 extras. 38 was the previous record. Over 40 extras in the game till the end. But Ajay, we briefly talked about the reputation and those who know enough about certain players. We know Mayank Agarwal, we know Shikhar Dhawan, Shah Rukh Khan also has been seen enough. But the 2 unknown quantities, in a sense, Bhanuka Rajapaksa, and obviously not enough of Odean Smith has been seen. I've been privileged to see him over 2 seasons at the CPL, but obviously the RCB bowlers hadn't reckoned with what he's capable of.
Yeah, and now you understand why everybody was going for him in that auction. Everybody thought that this is the man who could, turn around games. He was a little lucky to start as well. Had that catch been taken, maybe we wouldn't have been talking about it. Because 205, no matter what kind of wicket you're playing on, even on a flat track, as a fielding side, you get enough chances. And I think they probably didn't take those. And, it's a great chase. It sets up the tournament brilliantly because, Punjab Kings 11 now is a team that everybody will fear. It's almost like Harshal Patel's coming to bowl. Okay, you fear because what he's done last year. But what Punjab has done today is, has made a big statement. And especially after, the big guns of last year not being around. They found new big guns. It's a new unit and it looks a happy unit for me. Reputations, yes, are made here and are, broken as well. So, Punjab Kings 11, I'm pretty chuffed with the way they played. Because even if they'd lost at the end, you win some, you lose some. But at no stage in that game, even while the 200 was being scored, you saw, Mayank Agarwal not, not too flustered or worried about something. Yes, he was worried. It was 200 score, and even when they came out to chase, it wasn't just crazy, throwing your bat at everything or anything. It was a plan. They knew exactly what they wanted to do, and as a unit, I think they feel confident this year. So again, beware.
Well, we've kept the clip. We've saved the clip, Ajay, of you before the tournament started. Punjab, the team to watch out for. So we haven't forgotten that one. And certainly they've justified your early wrap of them in this opening game. But Shaun, they just seemed to be, they were doing everything right. Even when there was a low moment, like when they sent out Rajangad Bawa before Shah Rukh Khan, and he gets out first ball, Mayank Agarwal was up from the dugout, walked next to him, patted him on the head and said, "No worries, mate." He didn't cut a lonely figure going into that dressing room.
Yeah, and in the context of the game going on to win, not a bad thing. From the youngster will have learned a quick lesson, but then being able to come out and watch his team transpire to win the event. So, yeah, you feel for him because no one likes to have him. I mean, all his family, his friends, everyone would have been glued to the TV to have a look-see. This is his first RPL. What's he going to do? And then it wasn't there for too long. But I'm sure he'll have lots of success. But I just think the striking ability is what you've got to be impressed by. Just the missing the areas that those three guys being able to smash it out and even for him as a youngster going forward, he now knows that there's a certain role that he'll have to play, and it's not going to be the one who has to hit the big sixes. If he gets his opportunity, he's got to knock it around and play smart cricket, because the firepower, there's plenty of it at the other end.
Yeah, in fact, Ajay, I'd like to, once we have our busy stats team there, I'd like to go back in the history of the tournament and see how many 200 plus totals have been scored, batting first or second, without a half century in there.
Must be probably once or twice at the most in the 150 games, if that's the case. Because generally, when you look to get to 200, you want one of your guys to stay through the innings. Even if it's not 100, you'll get somebody who'd get 80 or 90 or at least closer to that 100. But this chase was totally different, and that's what I feel good about Kings 11 Punjab, because it is not the number of balls and runs that they're looking at individually. I think they're looking at a total and playing the game the way they know how to play. A good example is it's an over that probably defines the chase for me. When Asaranga comes back for his last over, Odain Smith is at the other end. Now everyone knows, you know it much better because you watch them more, is that he struggles against spin. So Shah Rukh Khan, a young man, he knows it's 5 overs 50 to get, but he doesn't want Odain Smith to come to strike. He still manages to get a 6 as well in that over, blocks everything off. That just tells you, it's not just about the scoreboard or how many runs I've scored. They're looking at their teammates around them and saying, listen, how can I make it easier for my teammate? And the same you can say for Odain Smith. When he bats, he's not worried about what's happening. He's just going for it because he's making it easier for Shah Rukh Khan. So that over actually tells you how the chase was done. It was done as calmly as Shah Rukh Khan played that over.
Yeah, good spot there. 5 dots and a 6 in that over. So good spot, Ajay. Yes, that it was. And of course, with the same alacrity as Odain Smith's fast hands, our stats team has told me third instance in the history of the tournament where we've had 200 plus totals and nobody gets to a half century. But in terms of the bowling, Shaun, if they look back at it, could they have done anything differently? Yes, we talked about a couple of drop catches, but in terms of the bowling, with the personnel that they had today on the park, could they have done anything differently?
Yeah, I think they could have definitely. I think if I play this game for you in 5 weeks' time, I think we'd be very judgmental of the bowlers and the way they've performed. We would say, no, this is not up to standard. They've let themselves down. You give them some grace, as I say. When you come into this tournament, you've got to find your feet. You've got to work out what you're going to do. And it doesn't matter how many times you practice a wide Yorker under the pressure of an actual match situation. It's a different pressure that you encounter. So also I think the dew ball, getting used to that, maybe a little bit slippery. So I definitely think each one of them will go home thinking, I could have done this or I could have done that. But in the context of the tournament where you're at, the start, the runs that have been accumulated, I don't think they'll be too hard on themselves. It also depends on what individual. for myself, if I got 5 for 20, I'd go back to the room and say, well, why did I go for the 20? It's like, if I just hadn't given those 2 fours away, it would have been great. The individuals these days, I think you have to learn to just accept that every once in a while you're going to get it wrong. Otherwise, I think as a bowler, you can get quite depressed in this game.
Yeah, you can be. And even as a fan, you can get quite depressed easily. I mean, we've always talked about the loyal Bangalore fans year after year. They keep saying, is this our year? Is this our year? And this time around, there was a feeling in certain quarters, Ajay, with change of guard. Maybe Kohli, this is the break that he needed to be the batsman, and the bowling looking better on paper. But they'll be a little bit disappointed after having put 200 plus on the board to see no points on the board.
Yeah, they'd be disappointed with the result, yes. But, overall, I mean, when you look at a tournament, which is a 14-game league stage, you've got a new batting unit in there. I mean, you don't have Maxwell, who's your main guy. Faf's just come into your side. You got Anuj Rawat at the top, a young man. DK has come in, and DK could be, very mercurial. It could go anywhere. So quite a few positives in that front. I mean, if you look at it from that point, 205 is a total that you take any day. But yes, I think they'll probably be disappointed. And the big dependence that they have on Hasaranga and Harshal Patel, I think that might get dented. And, because both of them are not coming on to the game. It's like 205 was being chased, 70 odd for no loss. Both of them haven't even touched the ball. So, I don't know. I mean, as a batsman, I'd be happy to play the best bowler of the opposition side when we're in a better position, rather than where in the first 6 over, I need to take a chance where I don't get a single if it's a good ball. And unless I strike it, I can't get through. So maybe there might be a little change. But overall, I think not so much to worry. I think teams this year are very tight. Gautam, I think all the teams are pretty good. But they'll be disappointed with Hasaranga, because there's a big high five going on when they got Hasaranga. And today, Rajapaksa tells you he's over Hasaranga. Rajapaksa is Raj currently.
What I would say from a Bangalore perspective is sometimes there are cues that you've got to pick up. If you're sitting in the dugout or you're watching on the side of the field, to be able to work out what sort of surface it is. And I just think that one was a really good surface today. I think it was easy for guys to stride to the crease. Within the couple of deliveries, you could let your hands go through it and you could smash the ball to most parts. And the cues were in the first 6 overs for Bangalore. They hit some wonderful shots. They hit some real good cracking coverage outs, flying off the bat, but straight to fielders. And they couldn't get on the go. And then if you have a look at the middle period, so Kohli comes in, and then Faf decides to go for it. And in the space of 5 balls, he middles everything. It goes out the ground, no mistimed shots, nothing finds the outside edge. It just comes off the middle. And those are the cues that it's a good surface. And maybe just skidding on at night with the dew makes it even better so. So I think sometimes you just need to understand that a good pitch, and there wasn't much they could do. And particularly for a guy like Hasaranga, I think if it's sliding on, I think he loves those surfaces where it just grips and really makes life difficult.
Yeah, but as I said, there have been 3 successful run chases, but all have told a different story. Night 1, Kolkata-Chennai was different. This was a high-scoring game. In between, we had a lot of drama at the Brabant Stadium between Mumbai and Delhi. Mumbai, again, with runs on the board, gets rid of the cream of the Delhi batting, including Prithvi Shaw, and Rovman Powell doesn't do very much. And Rishabh Pant, of course, didn't get started. They were left with Shardul Thakur, Lalit Yadav, Akshar Patel. None of them, I mean, of course, we've seen Akshar bat before, but none of them with the kind of credentials, Ajay, where you would say, listen, we're going to take our team home with the run rate required, getting close to 10 and over. And that's what they did.
Yeah, they did an exceptional job, because halfway they were out and gone. It was, keep repeating, it was Shardul Thakur who started it. And then, look at Akshar Patel's numbers. I mean, people who enjoy the game looking at numbers who hadn't seen the game. It's only, 17 balls and he's got 38. And, so when he's walked in, it's, more than 10 and over every time that you need. And they still ended up winning the game with more than over to spare. So it tells you that, the way people are thinking, because they were 5 down when Roman Powell got out. Shardul Thakur got out, I think, when they were needing about 60 odd, and Akshar Patel gets 38 out of those. And Lalit Yadav, I mean, young man who's not had a lot of opportunity, also played his part. I mean, the numbers don't look as exciting, but the temperament is something that you should always be looking for. And he showed that temperament. He let, Akshar Patel do what he had to do, Shardul Thakur what he had to do, and he carried on what he was best doing at. So, for Delhi, otherwise they would have also gone into this tizzy of, can we play this freely or not? Because they've got some serious firepower as well. So it's just that the start, you need something to go your way. So I think Kings 11 Punjab and Delhi today have had things go their way. Both the chases, even in that one, Akshar Patel was dropped very early in his innings, if not, maybe it was about 8, 10, 12. And then again here in Odean Smith. Had those catches been taken, we would probably be looking at the game differently and saying, no, RCB played very well. They got to 205 and the Punjab couldn't chase it. So fielding 2 catches already. We're only 3 games down.
Yeah, crucial catches we're talking about. But I think with when you look at someone like Akshar Patel and the faith that the Delhi franchise have put in him, and then getting in Lalit Yadav, I think that just shows that he's sort of repaid their faith. And remember, with ball in hand, which is probably his first suit, Shaun, he didn't have a great outing. So for him, it was even more of a satisfaction that, okay, I couldn't bowl well, I couldn't pick up a wicket, I've done it with bat in hand.
Yeah, that's the joy of being an all-rounder. You can have one part of your game not be so clever, but you can bounce back and still do a job for the team. And I suppose if you look at the situation when the 5th or 6th wicket went down, to think that they would win with 10 balls to spare, I think it was unimaginable at that stage. And the key for them also, I mean, it's a win is a win, but just to show depth. There's nothing better in an RPL team than when you look down and you see your number 6, 7, and 8 being able to win games from unusual situations. It gives the team a boost because you're banking on 5 or 6 or 7 games. The top 3 are going to win for you, that they're going to get big score. But to know that you've got that batting ability, much like we saw from Punjab as well, that gives you a nice boost. It was that in Mumbai, we used to have Hardik and Pollard coming in at the back end, finishing lots of games. It's a nice situation to have that firepower.
Yeah, it certainly is. And of course, just to add to the fact that Jasprit Bumrah had a bad day as well, Ajay, yes? Yeah, I think we need to just refresh you on your mic, Ajay. We're not hearing you. Yeah, I think it just decided to go for a walk for the moment. We'll get Ajay back, but for now, a quick reminder of the 2 results from Super Sunday. Double header started with Delhi over Mumbai at the Brabant Stadium, moved to the outskirts of the city at the DY Patil Stadium, where over 400 runs were scored. Bangalore putting on 200 plus, and of course, it was chased down. This was the earlier game. 177 for 5, played 179 for 6. Top score of 48 not out of 38 deliveries for Lalit Yadav. So once again, interesting. We've had both times the run chases, one of 179, one of 200 plus, without a single half century. So good team effort from Delhi, good team effort from Punjab, and the tournament really thrown open. But we're done with the weekend. Lots to look forward to as we go into a new week. A new week, a Monday. It also means 2 brand new teams. We talked about, of course, the auction, who are the teams going to be. There's absolutely no precedent set, not like Chennai where they're trying to get a core of the team, or even Mumbai. This starts from scratch. It's Lucknow against Gujarat, and this is going to be, as I said, starting from scratch. Here's a reminder of the game at hand. It's at the Wankhede Stadium. It's going to be the Gujarat Titans against Lucknow. Now I'm going to go straight to Shaun Pollock. For a brand new team, they've seen 3 games go. Of course, there are familiar players in there, but Hardik Pandya taking on a KL Rahul. How do you start off for the first time with your first game ever in a franchise tournament?
Yeah, I think I'm excited personally just to see how these 2 teams get on. I think it's a real opportunity for all those involved to be able to, start things in a different way. You can write your your own legacy from ball one. And I think there's some good players there. There's some real potential, a lot of experience, a lot of guys who've maybe just shifted underneath the radar at certain franchises. So it's a second opportunity for them. Others that have shone, like someone like a Rashid Khan's been absolutely brilliant, hasn't he? And Hardik Pandya has been good at Mumbai. So it's an opportunity for them to implement their own style or imprint their own thought philosophies onto that team. So I think it's nice. I'm looking forward to seeing how they get on. I like the look of the teams. I've had a look at what will be the probable 11s that we've sort of managed to pull out of each squad. And I think it should be a very competitive game. And they'll want to start off on a winning note, wouldn't they? Having sat and established the side, there would have been a lot more into their preparation than maybe some of the more established units. And an opportunity for, as I say, for new people to get an opportunity and see what they can do.
Yeah, the first focus will inevitably, Ajay, be on the captains. Since we showed the Gujarat Titans squad, Hardik Pandya, he's seen his old team Mumbai play. He's seen them not win in that first game. So for him, it will be a change of scene, a change of dressing room, change of culture almost. And he'll have to set the tone in a sense.
You're absolutely right. I mean, he has the opportunity, like Shaun said. I mean, you have an opportunity to set a tone. And especially with Hardik Pandya, I think, everywhere he's played, he probably feels a little restricted. He wants to do something different. He wants to play it differently. Here's your opportunity. He's been made the captain. He's got, Ashish Nehra as coach, who's pretty liberal as well, who'd let him, do what he wants. So if he wants to make a mark in Indian cricket beyond what he's already done as a player, I think he has a great opportunity here. He's got a team which is pretty good. I mean, it's not a side that you'd say is a runaway winner or a side that has too many gaps or too many holes. They've got enough with them. They've got Rashid Khan as a bowler. He's got Shubman Gill. That's how they started the three retained players that they had. But batting at the top is how they play. If it was me, I would want to see Hardik Pandya right up there. And I believe that, he's capable of doing that. And if he wants to make a mark and change the mindset that Indian cricket fans and Indian cricket establishment have about him, then he needs to go out there and show everybody whether he's good enough to play Test cricket, one-day cricket, 2020. So unless you get in there early, everybody knows you can strike it. So if you want to change the way people look at you, I think Hardik Pandya has an opportunity to go out there early and show that he's not just a slugger or not just somebody who can strike, but he's got a little more than what everybody expects. It's an opportunity. I don't know how he looks at it.
Yeah, we've mentioned the key players from there. Of course, someone like a Mohammad Shami will be along with Rashid Khan in that bowling lineup. A few players still missing, coming in from different tournaments and, of course, from different parts of the world. The West Indies-England Test Series will be finishing, and then we'll see Alzari Joseph joining this franchise. But right at the top, Hardik Pandya somewhere in the mix there. Shubman Gill, some exciting names. On the other side, Shaun, we've got Lucknow, and they are led by the man who is leading the team that has just gotten over Bangalore not too long ago. That's KL Rahul. Now, we've seen him as batsman. We've seen him as a leader. Now, he's got a new group of players to lead. Again, his legacy that he can stamp on Lucknow.
And his experience there. I mean, you've got Quinton de Kock, Pandya, Vora, Stoinis, Holder. The bowling was, for me, I don't know. I think that would be I would recognize that maybe as the weakest link of what they've got. I mean, they've got some potential. They've got some guys who've done different roles, but no one sort of jumps out as me as saying, listen, I'm going to be the leader of attack. I'm going to dictate terms. I'm going to make sure, I stamp my mark on the side. All those guys have played parts in other bowling attack, but batting wise, I like the all-rounder options. I think that gives them a lot of depth when everyone eventually arrives. But I like the look of them. I like that combination up front too. I think that could be quite exciting. Quinton de Kock and KL Rahul. I'm sure there'll be 2 or 3 games that those two win on their own. And I think that'll be their real strength.
I'm glad you added when everyone arrives, because 2 of the key all-round names that you mentioned, not available immediately. Marcus Stoinis, after the limited over series, will come in. Jason Holder still celebrating a magnificent Test victory for West Indies over England. They're in Grenada and on the beach right now, having the party of a lifetime. So that'll take a little bit of time. But for Ajay, say someone like a Ravi Bishnoi and Avesh Khan, they've both made a mark with different franchises. They'll be excited with young players to have maybe a little more of a senior role.
Yeah, both of the young men did exceptionally well. Bishnoi probably didn't get as many opportunities last year at, Punjab. And you rightly put it. I mean, they played different roles. Here they are the main stay of the side. They are the main bowlers that they need to bowl differently. I don't think you can do that. I think they need to think differently. From being young players, because overnight you can't change your style of play. A lot depends on how KL Rahul plays. I mean, I keep going back to this whole thing every time at the start of the IPL. I always believe it's how you start and how you want to play will display whether your skills or your capability will take you at the top or not. Because they've got plenty of options. If you look at that, I mean, in their bowling option, at least with the Indians, not overseas players, not such great bowlers, at least holders not available. I think Chamira is available for them. So they have enough in there. So yeah, there you go. Avesh Khan, Ravi Bishnoi, these are the two we're talking about. Shahbaz Nadeem also has done things at times that Ankit Rajput was another guy who did exceptionally well. I don't know, they've replaced Andrew Tye with Mark Wood. That tells me that there is a change of thought, because you're not going to find a like-to-like replacement for Mark Wood, but AJ Tye is totally a different kind of bowler. Maybe latter in this tournament, slow ones, and he might come useful. Karan Sharma is the man. If Karan Sharma is playing, it'll tell me something else about this team. Because Karan Sharma is a bowler who's an attacking bowler, not very similar to Chahar, not Chahal, but Chahar. And he's been sitting out with teams for a very, very long time. He spent a long time with Chennai as well. So when Karan Sharma plays in that side, then you got enough of those Indian guys, and then the overseas players can probably make the impact. Yeah, so I'm waiting to see how they play, how they come out.
One more man who will be on the same flight as Jason Holder will be Kyle Mayers. And again, what a magical spell he had in the red ball format for the West Indies, picking up a 5 for, and I think it was 5 for 9 when he got that to blow England away. One rivalry to talk about before we wrap up on this preview, Shaun. Krunal Pandya against Hardik Pandya. I mean, for so long, they've been in the same household. They've played for the same franchise, played for the same country. Now they're up against each other.
Yeah, I think I'd want to be in Hardik's shoes. I don't think Hardik's going to bowl to Krunal. I think he's going to make sure he doesn't bowl as well. But he's going to be ready for the contest. If he gives it a bit of air with his left armers, I'm sure Hardik's going to be looking to take him down. But yeah, it's a difficult one for the family. They've always been able to support the same team, haven't they? Now they're going to have to split their loyalties and support different ones on a different day. But they'll have to be neutral tomorrow. I suppose the fact that one of them's captain, maybe you have to give a bit more support in that area.
But Krunal's definitely been a part of all the build-up campaign. When their light blue jersey was launched, he was very much in the thick of things. Him, Manish Pandey, KL Rahul were all in the forefront of things. So he looks like, at least going by the body language, that he's going to play an integral part. But Ajay, they're conscious of each other's presence. I remember there was a charity game at the Wankhede Stadium. I think it was the Road Safety World Series, where they were playing on opposite sides. And they were having a blast, particularly because they were on opposite sides. Krunal was fielding on the boundary. Hardik came charging down the stairs. I had a mic in hand. He said, come on, let's go and disturb him on the boundary line. I mean, you could do it because it was a charity game. But the fact is, they were enjoying the occasion, enjoying the moment, enjoying the rivalry.
Yeah, and that's what this game is all about. I mean, you got to enjoy being on that field, enjoy that, contest that comes your way. As a kid, I mean, I remember if I hit my elder brother or got him out, that probably gave me the most pleasure. In fact, I even say this about when a lot of people, it's not a popular thing to say these days, but even when India-Pakistan game happens, I've always felt that. It's your, brothers that, when you get them out or hit them for a 6, you get some extra pleasure. It's not animosity. So these two will show you that tomorrow. They'll be playing it hard. They'll try their best. And, Hardik will be waiting for him to flight, but there's no way. Kunal will not even bowl out. He'll bowl at his heels. He's got information from Polly that go for his heels. And, that's where he's going to be aiming. And I hope the others also listen about this.
Yeah, we can't wait for that. Pandya versus Pandya, Lucknow versus Gujarat. Lots to look forward to. That is going to be our 4th game in the tournament. Long tournament ahead. For now, just before we hit the midnight hour, let's quickly get our joy factor question out of the way. Seems a long time ago that we asked the question. Quick reminder of what the question was. This is what we asked you. What is the connection, Chris Martin and Bruce Reid, to Only 3 Test cricketers to be part of an unusual list. Which Indian is the third? I had a name in mind, but let's see if it matches with what I thought. The one I was thinking of was B.S. Chandrasekhar. It was B.S. Chandrasekhar. All 3 took more Test wickets than the number of Test runs that they scored, with, of course, a minimum qualification of 100 wickets. Well, they weren't the best batsmen in the world. But who's the one who spotted that first? Who is our winner? And Swanik Garg. Garg _ Swanik. Well done. Always like to see a new name on our list over here. So many more questions to come. So many more games to come. And of course, so many more surprises to come. You'd have to say at least 2 out of 3 results didn't quite go the way things were looking at the halfway point. That's what we always like in a contest. Just about time to say thank you to Ajay Jadeja. Thank you to Shaun Pollock.
Thank you.
And
yeah, we must just, Gautam, we must just go on the fact that you and me got our predictions right tonight, right?
Yeah, I apologize.
One win. But Ajay's got to work on it. 183 or 87, it's not going to work. You got to come up with a different number.
Inflation's going up. I think I'll have to go further up. But don't worry. As the war and everything settles down, it'll all come back, because I think wickets are best at the moment to bat. As soon as they get a little drier, they'll come down to my score. Don't worry.
Yep. Fair enough. I gloated about my 177, and I was remiss not to congratulate Shaun Pollock on getting the power play score when Punjab were chasing, because it was not just about hitting a number by fluke. It was about trying to suggest that was the way Punjab should chase it. That's the way they did chase it, and that's the way they won the game. So well done, Shaun Pollock. Well done, Punjab.
Kaka.
There you go. We'll have lots more fun, lots more predictions. For now, from all 3 of us, thank you all for watching. We'll see you soon on Cricbuzz Live.